coffee down. He's ready to go. Segment
Trying to
2.
stay warm here.
And we have a Boston area guy and a New York area guy. They will not fight as far as we should.
As far as you know.
So we should. I should be sitting in the
talking
middle.
About baseball, you never know what's going to
Because
happen.
I barely got out of West Lafayette, which is my own problem. But anyway, Paul Gonnella, Director of Purdue of Player Personnel for Purdue football, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you're here at your own risk, but no, we're glad to have you here. And I know that this is a time where you don't really need your cell phone at all, and you can just sit and do nothing because you got nothing going on. But obviously, Purdue in the midst of, we're 18 days away from National Signing Day. I know we can't talk specifics, but it's a busy time for you.
There's no doubt about it. The entire staff right now in handling the official visits and scheduling the travel and getting on flights and making sure they have their cars and GPSs and hotels and who they're seeing and addresses. So it's a busy time for everybody.
When you look at that, and the weather from yesterday kind of can throw a wrench in. I mean, anything can change the whole dynamic of because these guys are on schedules that have no room for error.
There's no doubt about it. We had to make a change today, so
yeah.
we had to due to the weather. So.
Yeah. Well, we were talking, and we had a great conversation in commercial, and that went on for too long. But we talked about the topics of the day, and one of the ones, and we have a question actually about this too, is early signing period, and the fact that, of course, National Signing Day Wednesday, February 1st. But there's been a lot of talk. You have junior college guys that can sign in December. And you had some interesting things to say about your opinion about a December or an early signing day and the day that you thought that it might make some sense.
Well, I think the fruits of our labor this year, we had a lot of commitments coming into December, and had there been an early signing period, we would have been able to secure a good amount of the commitments and move on for the rest of recruiting after the dead period. To secure the rest of our class, and it would also allow you to futuristic recruit a lot more.
Go into juniors and
absolutely. We can't have contact with them, but we can go to schools and check on other seniors and get lists, and our coaches can scurry the country. It would be a big advantage.
And the cost savings is in this day and age makes some sense.
That would be a huge deal, considering how many commitments we had that we have to go see them. 6 out of 7 weeks in the contact period, and you really can't miss a week in going to see them. We have to get in the homes and continue to form the relationships. With the families and to make sure that no one comes in there and gives them more attention than you do.
Yeah.
So
at this stage of the process, I think we have you for 20-some commitments. You could have 60 for all we know. But are you more in the retention phase, or are you still trying to finish the class off, or has the emphasis shifted to 2013 guys now, or just kind of where are you with things?
Well, I think every team is fluid up until signing day, and sometimes it's on your own, and sometimes things happen that's out of your control that you will continue to need to pursue certain positions, or so things can happen within your team or within your signing class before signing day. You have to be prepared for anything. You don't know who could leave or something could happen. So to keep our depth at each position of who we're recruiting, and the main thing for us, and we've done a great job, as I spoke earlier about it, but giving attention to the guys we do have. And our list obviously has shrunk tremendously because of the amount of commitments we do have. So we're going to continue to get out there and be active, just in case.
Do you have to keep recruiting guys who are already committed to you as if they're not?
Oh, absolutely.
Does it get to that point?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have great relationships.
Yeah.
We have great relationships. Staff does with the current commitments, and we'll continue to help that grow. And we got a great bunch of guys, so we're excited.
In your perspective of being, having been at Carolina, Miami, Memphis, Purdue, does an early signing day help Purdue? I mean, we were talking about the big fish eating the bigger fish, or the bigger fish eating the smaller fish, or however you want to phrase it. how big of an advantage, I mean, do you see that, or do you just think it's the right way to do things?
Well, as time evolves and the longer I've been in the business and looking at this, I think it's a help to have it, because at some point in time, the big guys, you could call them, get their guys and sign them, and you'll know if you're wasting time on certain guys. Because some guys, may not be, maybe telling you one thing, but in reality, you might not have as good of a chance as you think. So I think the chance of you, going after kids that aren't interested in you would make it less. And then also, we talked about the cost.
Yeah.
Is a huge deal as well, with the amount of commitments that we had, that we wouldn't have to go ahead and we'd still recruit them and we would still be in contact with them, but we wouldn't have to do the travel to go see them. But it is what it is, and I think the staff has done a great job at following these rules that we have and being able to consistently produce.
How has stuff like Twitter, Facebook, Skype, that sort of stuff kind of changed recruiting?
Oh, it's changed the game. There's no doubt it's changed the game. With the type of phones that they have out now, that can, the emails on them and Facebook and Twitter on them, the amount of communication or the different ways of communicating with the prospects is, it's amazing, and they're in tune to it. So it's a big tool for us. We're up with it, and the kids respond to it. And you've worked for different programs, obviously, but is your process more, and it sounds, I don't know, being too technical, but more data-driven? What percentage, in terms of how fast a guy can run, his academics, and you can quantify all that and put this in and probably put it on a spreadsheet and say, this is who I'm supposed to be doing. But how much is the emotional side of it in terms of relationships with coaches in certain areas, or referrals, those kind of things? What percent plays into who you really target? Well, we have specific areas that our coaching staff physically recruits, and so the majority of our kids here are probably going to come from those areas. But we have expanded on a national basis, and I think we have maybe PSAs from 14 different states, somewhere around there. So we have expanded, but the majority, the majority of the time our coaches spend communicating with prospects and coaches from their areas. I think will show you that most of our prospects will come from. You'll be able to look at our class and probably figure out what areas we're putting time into.
But do you I mean, is it I guess maybe better said, more science or more art to this?
Well, I think it's it's research is a huge deal, and obtaining the correct information, obtaining the correct film and the correct speed of film, because film speed can be,
can make some guys look fast.
Making sure you get the transcripts, getting the right transcripts, keeping them up to date, doing the evaluations on the transcripts, and then also you want to find out about the person as well. What's the person made up of? Character, attitude, family life, and how they present themselves within their school and their community.
Yeah, no question on that. You look at the situation and having the opportunity to be here. And again, haven't been here all that long, but Purdue is a different place than you've been. But what's it been like for you in terms of knocking or competing against in the Big Ten versus where you've been? How is it different than where you've been?
Well, to be honest, it's been a joy to be here. First of all, I love living here.
Yeah. So
I've really taken to the community and to the school and to the people that are here. There's a lot of similar people with similar backgrounds, so I think it's Purdue has a great nationally when people see that P, they think a lot about it, and that helps. It helps in what we do. It helps when we contact through mail or email or somehow get something to a prospect. When they see that, it's respected, and so that's a huge help. And as far as being in the Big Ten, it's a competitive conference from top to bottom. We've put in a lot of time and effort, the entire staff, into recruiting since I've been here in late March. And so we're going to continue to do that through through February 1st, and then
Start again.
And then start again.
Yeah.
The cycle begins again.
Yeah.
You obviously had a lot of early commitments, but did you see any bump from going back to the postseason? Whether it's perception or whether it's maybe being a little easier
I
to
think
hold on to guys?
I think it's a huge deal because the perception is a lot, and you know, since I've been here, Coach Hope's a great guy. He's a great coach, and you know, fortunately for us, we closed strong, and I think closing strong and winning that bowl game, and there is perception, and the perception is reality. We won 3 out of 4 games. We were bowl champions, and I think you know, the prospects that we're communicating with are excited about it. We're excited about it. So I mean, it's a great time to be a Boilermaker.
Yeah, and you have that opportunity to build on that. And yet, when you come down, you're also working a couple of bodies down with some changes in the coaching staff. What kind of challenge has that brought to you? Now it allows you're only allowed. And I should know the rules better. 7?
Yeah, 7.
7 out of time. So your head coach can be out there all the
Sure.
time and do that. But has that presented any challenges for you?
Well, we have 8 coaches there, so
Yeah.
we just keep one off the road, and we've adjusted a little bit, but we adjusted on the fly, and you know, things have gone rather smoothly, and Coach Oates been on the road a lot, so we have so many commitments that, you know, he gets to go once
Yeah.
to see prospects, senior prospects. So we try to keep his schedule pretty full, and you know, he's done an amazing job in doing it.
You know, the coaches you've worked around, Danny Hope has the reputation as the frequent flyer and loving to be out there. Does he rank up there high in terms of? I mean, some guys when they get to a certain age, you know, they want to talk like they want to recruit, but they may not really want to do it. It appears like Danny, that's what he likes to do.
He's been a breath of fresh air for me because he holds recruiting, you know, up top,
Yeah.
and for me that's very important because I take what I do seriously, and he backs it up by going out on the road, and he has a lot of other things going on, and he organizes that other stuff, and he keeps that other stuff going, but he's put recruiting at the top of his list as soon as the season was over. But even during the season, you know, we were heavy into it, and I think as you saw us come out of the summer and the commitment started, you know, we started gaining some momentum. I think you see the fruit of, you know, what his vision is, you know. So
Yeah.
Do you put much stock in rankings? Obviously, it would seem like on a lot of levels they're inherently flawed, as I'd be the first to admit, but do you put a lot of stock in it?
You know, we try to evaluate it on our own. I think it is a good thing to be recognized. You know, I don't think it's a bad thing. In reality, some of the guys will help us as freshmen, as what happened this year with a few of the freshmen that came in. But you're really not going to know about your class for 2 or 3 years in reality. But the rankings are okay. You know, it's not going to make or break. It's probably more for the public than it is for us. And it's something that's there. But to be recognized is okay, but what we're hoping is, you know, the things that aren't on the rankings, a lot of the things that we're looking for are grade point average and test score and attitude.
Brain.
Yeah, and attitude and work ethic, and it's, you know, guys that are willing to sacrifice and be team players. So those are the things you don't see in the rankings, and I think that in the past, I've only been here since March, but in the past, Purdue has really excelled with those type of guys, and so I think we're going to continue that tradition.
In a positive, certainly, and for those of you that don't know, because Purdue is ranked as of this morning on Rivals.com at 26th nationally, I believe it is third, but that's third in the Big Ten. Michigan ranked 4th, Ohio State ranked, I believe, 7th. As of this morning, so that's quite a jump, and will be, if it holds to signing day, that will be Purdue's best class. Really, I think going back to 2003, we did the research on it. I'm not exactly sure on that, but you know, it is interesting on that part because fans, and you've been to places, Miami being one, especially, that fans love recruiting, and that is a barometer of where your program is in terms of fans getting interested in recruiting. So
No doubt.
it plays a part in what you do.
It's no doubt about it, and us being able to translate this class with, we have a lot of guys coming back next year as well. And so some of these guys are going to be able to mature a year, and some are going to have to come in and play as well, And I know Coach talks about guys being 3 or 4 year starters, and, we're expecting the guys that we recruit to be those type of guys, to be able to come in and play for 3 or 4 years for us. So time will tell, and I think everyone will be excited with the product, with the new class.
All right, now let's talk about something really important. New England Patriots tomorrow in Denver. We've had our Tim Tebow argument off. We didn't argue, but we had discussion off. But obviously, this is a fun time also to be a football fan, because this is one of probably the best weekend in the NFL, arguably. But you have an interesting game there, and you've certainly come to know the power of number 9 in New Orleans, number 15 at Purdue, Drew Brees, and that power that he has brought recognition to Purdue's program. But first, give us a comment about what you expect to see tomorrow in the Patriots game, but also what effect does a guy like Drew Brees, I mean, this is almost rhetorical in nature, the question, but
sure.
What effect does he continue to have on your recruiting efforts?
Well, I'll start with Drew, because it's an amazing thing. He's a well-rounded person, great guy, and he's a leader on his team, and he's represented the university for a long time in the NFL. And it's almost like week after week you have a representative on TV that people across the world get to watch him play, and they tie him to this university. So it is a huge impact.
Yeah. Now on to your Patriots.
Well, we've lost a couple games in a row at home at New England in the playoffs, so they're looking for a little redemption with that, and I can see Tom Brady probably having a pretty big day.
Yeah. Though that Denver defense is staunch, but
I was just trying to remember who beat them in Foxborough last year in the playoffs.
It was the Jets.
It was. How about that?
He got it in there.
But this year, I think they're.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it this year.
They're golfing.
They're not golfing. They're arguing in the locker room.
Absolutely.
They're stealing stuff from one another.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck as you close out. It is obviously a big part of what we do, and we look forward to having that signing day issue, which will come out in mid-February with pictures of all and stories about all of the class of 20-something, maybe 28, 29, 30, who knows when you're done. But good luck to you, and a belated welcome to West Lafayette. But you now feel like you've been here for years since you've been, because you have no time to sleep. So
that's true.
All right, and Stacy Clarity will join us. We're going to kick both Paul and Brian off and bring in Albert Evans and Stacy Clarity for segment 3. And we know you're staying warm, and we're glad you're with us on Gold and Black Live.
Just one night. One team victorious. The story behind the score. The rivalries. The big plays. From the sidelines to you. On the air, online. Are you ready for the frenzy? Friday Night Frenzy. High school football from where you live.
Check out the Purdue collection now at Follett's. Boiler up with Nike Fantastic T-shirts, League and Champion fashion colors. Simply fabulous, simply Follett's. Purdue pride everywhere on game day. Nike sideline, worn by the team, by the players, and by you. And make every day game day with tailgate toss. Follett's, Purdue pride, a Purdue tradition, 17 game day locations.
West Point Steakhouse is a family-owned restaurant known for premium quality steaks. Open for dinner Thursday through Saturday. Stop by for the Thursday night prime rib special or Friday and Saturday night specials like pasta and seafood. Be sure to come and enjoy all the food and fun at West Point Steakhouse.
You can now get a quote or buy car insurance 24 hours a day. Call me, State Farm Agent Trent Johnson, at 743-9595 and see how much money you can save today.
Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University. Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
When you see it happen, report it. Send us your news stories, photos, and videos with our Report It feature. It's easy with WLFI.com and the WLFI smartphone app. With a few simple clicks, you can send videos and photos of breaking news coverage. See your submissions on air as part of our broadcast or online in the Report It gallery. WLFI.com. Always mobile, always connected.
Welcome back, Gold and Black Live, segment 3, and I'm going to point again, but Albert Evans, I know you can see that on the screen down there, but the esteemed defensive back for the Purdue Boilermakers, bowl champion Purdue Boilermakers, and I know you don't get tired of hearing that. Is that the Little Caesars Bowl, Pizza Bowl championship, and obviously congratulations to you on that, and then congratulations because you're getting to sit next to and talk to Stacy again, as if you didn't run our site. We had a great, one of my favorite exit interviews, and one of the things we try to do on our website as guys get through with their eligibilities, we do what's called an exit interview, and have had fun doing that. And I want to, at the end, you're going to have to give your brutal estimation of us, because we talked about you being brutally blunt. So we allow you to do that either on the air or off, but you can critique all of this. You're tired of having to deal with this media type anyway. But anyway, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming on.
No problem.
And what's it like to have that bowl championship and have finished your career, which has had its challenges throughout in terms of wins and losses, to have it finish on a very high note?
It feels real good to be that senior class to get Purdue back to bowl games, and it's just an honor to be able to play in a bowl game, and to win it is a big deal for the program.
Yeah.
You didn't finish the game. You want to tell people why? We talked about that, but I don't think I actually said it in the exit interview. So.
I don't exactly know what it was, concussion or something, but I had like trauma like down my spine and into my arm, so I couldn't like finish the game. But everything checked out fine. My spine's all right, so I'm good to go.
You were still able to celebrate afterward, right?
Yeah, I was still able to celebrate afterward.
I
just
one of my favorite pictures that Tom Campbell was able to get was of you handing the bucket to Ralph Bolden, which actually, it made it seem like you could have music playing in the background. It was just the right thing to do. Now, I'm not sure it may not have been that way in real time, but it's tough when you have your friends and in yourself not being able to finish up. Injuries are part of this game, but an emotional thing to be able to have Ralph involved with that too.
Yeah, it was very emotional. On the way out to the game, I was walking next to Ralph, and he was just saying, like, in high school they made it to the big game and he couldn't play because he tore his ACL, and now we made it to the big game again and he couldn't play, and he was just a little upset about it. So I feel like it was the right thing to do, to just hand it to him, because he helped us get there every step of the way.
Yeah, and that's leadership, my friends. That's one of the things that you really brought to this football team without question. And talk about what you learned about leadership and having to do be honest with folks, which you've had that reputation, but also lead a team, get a team over the hump, which this program needed to get done. Tell us what you've learned from that, and then maybe what you're going to use that, whether it's into your football playing career or your professional career after this.
Like I was telling Stacy in my interview, sometimes being honest wasn't the best thing to do, but it was really the guys that bought into it. Some guys responded well, some didn't, but once they grew up, they kind of understood like what I was saying and what I was getting at. So it was just the guys that like bought into the whole thing and were able to listen. We had a turning point when we lost 2 tough games to Wisconsin and Michigan, and I kind of got up and said something to the team about like getting going and sticking together, and right after that we like turned it back around and still was able to get to a bowl game, so that was good. And it was like I put all that on the team for buying into the whole thing.
Yeah.
What do you think your legacy will be here? What do you want it to be? What do you think it is?
I think it is being brutally honest from what I always keep hearing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But I mean, you were a hard-nosed player too. I mean, you kind of played through some injuries when you had to. You had the torn MCL kind of at the end of the last year and stuff like that too. I mean, that's something that I think that comes through that your teammates see when you can kind of be that kind of
Yeah,
player
I think
too.
they will always remember you as being a tough guy, being honest, never backing down from like any challenge, and I think that's something like those guys like take from me. And I hope I was like able to leave that, especially for the guys back in the secondary.
You know, and one of my favorite questions is to ask, and somebody had asked on our board about who is ready to have a breakout year in the secondary next year. I know you mentioned Max Charlot and also Taylor Richards as well, but talk about the guys that Purdue fans are going to be watching in the next 3 or 4 years that will impress. And obviously Richards got to play a fair amount in the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl.
I mean, you obviously have the obvious Ricardo and Josh Johnson coming back next year, but Max will be a guy that's everybody will be able to see like what he can do. He was a little behind me and Logan last year and the year before, and I think he's like picked up a lot and will be good. And Taylor will play, and you can just see like he's a freshman. They were able to put him out there. He's able to come away with like a play in the bowl game, get an interception on the big stage. And Landon Fichter will be another safety that's tremendously athletic, and people like hadn't seen him much because we had me, Max, and Logan all playing. But he's a tremendous talent they'll all be good back there next year. Yeah,
surprised us actually because he got to the field as fast as he did, and yet a guy that gets overlooked in recruiting. You know, it comes to the program. Take us back to your recruiting and back to making a decision to come to Purdue, and looking now in the lens of having been here for 4 years. Was it everything you expected it to be?
You expected to be a running back.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's
I expected to be a running back when I
that's
came
the world
here.
of recruiting, right? So.
Right. I don't even know what I expected when I came here, but it's been fun. I came running back, played linebacker, played nickel, played corner, played safety. So it was fun. My first game was against Oregon, my freshman year, thrown out there at linebacker, and since then it's just been going ever since. I mean, he can't get any bigger than playing Oregon Ducks out in Ross 8, and since then it's just been fun. Had a lot of fun, like in my exit interview.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's done and over with now.
I appreciate
but
that.
It was fun, and I learned a lot here from Purdue. Learned a lot from the coaches, and it was an experience that I'll be able to like share with my family for years.
No, it was one of those things, I can remember in the Oregon game in 2008, looking, who's that 30? I mean, I fashioned myself to know who guys are. 32's out there. He's not ready to be there yet. Did you have that same feeling yourself?
Yeah, I had that same. I was redshirting the week before.
Yeah.
Didn't dress. I was in the stands watching the game against Northern Colorado, and then that Monday or Tuesday they asked me to go to linebacker because we had none because Jason Werner got hurt, and it was only Haygood and Joe Holland. So I kind of felt special because I guess you could feel the coaches saw something in me that I could become a good player over like all the other guys that they had. So, but when I got out there, it was a different world. And I remember getting stiff-armed on Oregon sideline and them just going crazy like all in front of me. Like I got there, but I was just too small. Couldn't do it.
Yeah. At least they didn't have those glass helmets. So, but my son's still disappointed because they didn't really bring out the real fancy stuff when they played Purdue. But that was a crazy football game, as I recall. And yet your trip back out there also had to be one of the highest. I know that you didn't win, but the fact you were in a position to beat Oregon out there. Talk a little bit about that experience as one of your memories of playing.
That venue is probably one of the best venues I've played in. From excitement-wise to just the crowd, the feeling, the big duck just running back and forth across the thing.
Was it Donald Duck?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He rode out on the motorcycle.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. I think it's a licensing issue.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
It was a great experience. Then I played a lot because Brandon King was still hurt, so I was out there with 3 other seniors playing a lot. So it was a good experience. I mean, they had great quarterbacks, great receivers. Speed and everything, we were able to go out there and compete with them. So it was like one of the points in my career that like you'll always remember. You played Oregon and hit them on the ropes 2 years in a row. Yeah. To be able to beat them. You really had them on the ropes out there. That was a game that you could have won, certainly. But the speed of Oregon is always impressive. But it was impressive to me that on that night especially, Purdue matched them in so many ways.
We talked in the exit interview kind of favorite wins and worst losses. But what about the moments that people couldn't see. You know, we can see Ohio State, you know, after that game, fans rushing the field or winning at the big house, but maybe in the locker room afterward or on the bus. I mean, are there some kind of moments that you'll never forget maybe after a big win like that?
Most memorable moments probably be on the bus on Friday nights, going to dinner, coming back, going to the hotel for meetings and things. It would be me and DeVaro Greaves and Dwayne Beckford, and we would just talk about each other just nonstop about you don't play, you don't make this play, you don't do that. But to like be in that circle and like the things we say to each other, you had to like have a hard shell. And like we knew like we were kidding and joking, but you just pull out all stops. And sometimes the coaches, it would be so bad the coaches would be up front and like hear us and like laugh at certain things. And I think that would be like the most memorable thing. When we went to Detroit, I told DeVaro we had to do it one last time because we was going at it since freshman year. So that would be probably my most memorable moment that nobody else knows about outside.
Did you win those?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
won.
Okay, I wouldn't want to have that discussion with you.
I wouldn't have it unless someone, like from being brutally honest, they just say, Joe Holland told me I go straight for like the jugular when we're arguing. I'm going to say the worst thing I could say to you. But like I said, we all have hard shells and it becomes fun.
Okay, I'm thinking politics here. I don't know why, but see, it's 2012, and by the time you're 35, that'll be. I think you'd be the first president in 2032 to be brutally honest on that campaign, and you could and be able to be elected.
I don't know if I'll be elected, but I might have some things to say about it a little later in life.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that's true. Talk about what you want to do. I know you have three courses you're going to finish up, get your degree in May, but everybody wants to keep. I'm going to make that assumption. Everyone wants to keep playing football, but if that happens, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years? Football or non-football?
I don't know. I have no clue. I'm going to try this football thing. Go out to California in a couple weeks and train leading up to Pro Day and try my luck there. And I don't know. I hope I'm sitting somewhere pretty like you, making the big bucks.
That's the nicest thing anybody's said to me. So I am sitting pretty. I think that every day.
We have a couple questions on here.
Yeah, fire away, Stacy.
Do I need to say from cheesy beef?
You can, really? Just because he needs to feel good about himself, so go ahead.
He's asking, what is the biggest change you've seen in the Purdue program since you've arrived? And how has it affected you and your perception since being recruited here?
Which one?
Which one?
You about Ohio State? I'm sorry.
No, he just said the biggest change you've seen in the Purdue program.
Sorry.
I think it would be academic-wise. First guy here that really wasn't like pressed to be an issue. I think he just had to be eligible, really have a 2.0, and Coach Hope's really stressed trying to get a 3.0, which we like haven't made yet, but we've gotten like a 2.9 and like close to it, and those things have really been harped on, going to class and those things, and I think that it's really helping us be more successful as a team and like helping in recruiting-wise and whatnot. And I think we've exceeded like the national average for GPAs like over the few years that Coach Hope has been here, so I think that's been a big deal and one of the most things that's changed since I've been here.
All right, I'm going to ask, as Jay Hetfield asks, do you remember holding up the Purdue P? I'll bet you he doesn't remember this. No, of course he does. Purdue P while being held up by a mob of students on the field after the 2009 Ohio State upset.
Yes, I remember it. I remember it well.
He says, I was in that pack, I loved it, and wondered if you did too. Well, he answered that. He did. You know, again, moments like that, that's the ones that the public sees.
Right. Yeah.
And yet there's always a backstory because you go into that game, you're 1-5, there isn't anybody in the public, or few in the public, that really believe in you guys. What did you learn about that? Because you had that dynamic a couple times where fans or friends, you know, may have said, you know, doubted you guys. What did you learn when you had to persevere in those types of environments?
I learned a lot about our team in general, about our will to fight from Coach Hope and everybody else, because over the course of my years being here, since we had the terrible losing season my freshman year and Coach Tiller's last year, people have been doubting us the whole time, and since then we've been able to go in big games and win them somehow. And I think that's been a tribute to Coach Hope and his toughness and the team's toughness, and I think that right there like started it. Once we won that game, it was like, hey, we can beat anybody. I mean, they might be more talented, be more healthy than us, but at the same time, we go out on any given Saturday and, you go out there and play hard, you got a chance to come out and win, and it shows it every Saturday in college football. Somebody gets upset and somebody else wins because it's just that Saturday.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys aren't feeling it and another team is.
Is it tough at all to keep fighting when you are losing, you know, season after season kind of thing? I mean, do you think it takes a special character of a person, or is it just, we're here to play football, this is kind of our job, this is how we should do it? Just because you should do it doesn't mean people do. Do you know what I mean? Do you think that that was kind of a trait of the teams the last couple of years, that they did kind of have that character of being fighters?
I think we did. I think it was, like I said, tribute to Coach Ho, because he's always, no matter if we got up and we had to play Ohio State, we had to play Oregon, we had to play anybody that we were expected to lose to, he's come in and like been there and like put in a game plan and told us like he expects us to win. And we go out there and you just play hard. I mean, you can never say what's going to happen, but you just go out there and play hard and hope for the best. And so far, that's like been a good tribute to us, I guess. I'm 2-2 against Ohio State. I'm 2-2 against Michigan. So, and those are teams that we're just supposed to lose. So Ohio State wasn't ranked this year, but they're Ohio State and they're just supposed to be Purdue. So it was just something that happened that I think Coach Ho really instilled in us as a team.
A question from Bob D. That do you have any aspirations? We talked a little bit about this, but being a business owner or a media member. He says you definitely have a natural presence in front of the camera and a good deep voice that folks would like. So we're trying to work on your political career or some kind of career. But talk. Have you thought about? I mean, if you're going to do the non-football thing, you said, well, I'm not sure I have a clue exactly, but. Business, a broad-stroked way, you have some natural inclination to that?
I don't know. What was his name? Bob D? Yeah. He has a job for me.
We have ways, unless Kyle's throwing questions over there, then these are good. No, we have ways of getting a hold of these guys. And again, since this isn't an NCAA issue anymore, we'll see what we
Call
can
me
do
up,
for
Bob
you.
D.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Actually, this would be a great way we could get the whole senior class in here and charge them like $75, $100 an hour, and we can try and get them jobs. I think they do it. So
we might.
It might work perfectly. We're down to our last minute. Optimistic about Purdue's football program. You've left it in a better place, I assume. And what do you see in 2012 for this football team in terms of where it can go?
I think the sky's the limit for this team. We kind of built a resume last year from going to the Little Caesars Bowl. So next year they come back and get a lot of wins under their belt, and their resume built even more. And we don't have to worry about coming down to the last second. We're going to go to this bowl, go to this bowl. Like, you've already been to this bowl, and if you get 7, 8 wins, you don't have anything to worry about. You're going somewhere nice. So I think the sky's the limit. They got a lot of talent coming back. They just got to put it together. And I hope this senior class that left with me left nothing but to work hard. We weren't the most talented, but we worked hard. And you can see that in guys like Chris Carlino. He was out starting linebacker freshman year, then he goes out on special teams his senior year and just dominates them every time he went out there. So I just hope they learn to work hard from us, and I think they'll be pretty good coming back next year.
Well, we want you to give a word into Chris, because I think he'd be fun to have on this show as well, because I think I know he'd have something to say.
We have an upcoming exit interview with Chris.
So you talk to Chris, and we can see if we can hook him up. Albert, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck to you. And no matter what I have that sneaking suspicion you're going to be successful no matter what. And I appreciate your honesty as well. Now you can critique us after we go off air. We're running out of time, so that's what I'm going to tell him. Thank you to our sponsors, certainly Follett's, Purdue Bookstores, and Purdue Pride, and then of course also State Farm agent Trent Johnson, Hilton Garden Inn, West Point Steakhouse, where Albert's taking us to dinner tonight, I think. Maybe we ought to be taking him, probably a better way to say it. And also thank you also to Kim and to Patsy and to Gordon and everybody back there. Next week, we think we'll have our mobile phone app where you can watch us, and Albert is going to be able to watch us now every time he wants, in between his online classes, to make sure you catch up on the show. We'll have more about that next week. So thank you for joining us. Stay warm. It's cold in West Lafayette, but it's winter after all. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week on Gold and Black Live.